Alright, I'm gonna make a video right now. Type of video I don't make a whole lot, where basically I just do some talking and share some thoughts and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm at work in the tree cutter here, and I don't have a desk job, so I can pretty much do what I want. Anyway, usually have my phone playing in the background on videos or music sometimes or whatever. Anyway, I had YouTube on today. I don't really watch as many videos as just listen to them. But anyway, all kind of channels have these kind of videos, and some that I hadn't heard of before, but they are still bigger than me. They have a couple hundred subscribers, but they're not mainstream YouTube or whatever. But I made a few videos on my setups and like go to war and shtf, stuff like that, just like everybody else. But anyway, I was having some thoughts that everybody thinks about this stuff, or at least all the preppers and gun people and stuff like that. But everybody makes a video on their loadouts and different things like that. You know, first off, insert battle rifle here, whichever one you pick. Usually it's an AR or AK, and SKS. Sometimes it's some other stuff, but more or less that's your basic thing for number one. And number two, you move on to a handgun, usually Glock or M&P or something like that. I've seen a few 1911s, but basically that's your mainstream on that. Then you got a carrier with, you know, insert name and plate here, all that kind of stuff. Then everybody carries anywhere from 3 to 6 AR mags and 3 or 4 pistol mags, things like that. And then you move on to your belt. Some people use a war belt, some people don't. I have one. And then you got your bag that you carry with you with your supplies, food, some water, some purification, you know, whatever, all kind of stuff you need like that. Anyway, all that's good to have. I'm not saying you shouldn't have it, because I have it myself, but just in case and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, before I go too far in that, I decided to make this video real quick, because I don't edit my videos, I don't make notes or anything like that. When I get a chance to and I have a thought pop in my head, I go ahead and try to do a video and, you know, just let it roll off the top of my head. A lot of times before I do it, I'll have things that I want to say or talk about, and then I make the video and forget all about it. Or I'll make one and then think, well, I should have said this or should have did that and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's just, you know, right off the top of my head and things like that. But like I said, everybody has these setups, everybody thinks about these scenarios and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure now with everything going on, the pandemic and craziness and civil unrest in places, and of course we got presidential election coming up, that somebody's going to be unhappy regardless of who wins. To the degree of how bad it gets, I don't know. Nobody really knows. But anyway, everybody has all these things to be prepared for whatever comes and all that type of stuff. But have you ever sit down and really thought about the cost? And there's different things for different scenarios. I'm not really talking natural disaster stuff right now and all that. I'm mainly like if you would be fighting a war type situation. There's several that are the most popular. Probably number one would be citizens versus the government, or National Guard, or against the military, or whatever you would say about that. Uh, like another Civil War, or Boogaloo, or whatever you want to call it, like that. Uh, there's plenty of memes to go around. All you have to do is pull up Facebook or anything like that, and some are funny, some are not, depending on your taste, all that kind of stuff. But basically, what it boils down to, people believe that there is lots of different levels, or tiers, you could say. First off, you have your ones that are fully operator out. Most are just citizens. They've never had any military training, or uh, been active or service or anything like that. But anyway, you get all the stuff, cool guns, armor, all those things, full decked out. Some even go night vision and all that, and they're ready to go. Then you have, from there all the way down, you have different levels of what people have, and training and expectations, all the way down to the regular old guy with a hunting rifle thrown on his back, and maybe a pistol, maybe not, but no armor, nothing like that. Just grab the old 30-06 and run. But not saying that it can't be effective, but it's not really effective when you think about it. And there's some other situations I'll go into in a minute, but first off, we'll say that one, and that'll be our scenario. But anyway, you have tyrannical government and citizens versus them, and let's say, I don't know if they'd really be able to bring in the actual military, or just kind of National Guard type of deal. But anyway, say if you had actual military soldiers, number one, they have access to better equipment than you do. Number two, they have more training and physical dedication. I mean, that's what they do for a living, is fight and train. And they have all the night vision, all the infrared, all the types of things like that. And I'm not saying that a lot of them wouldn't turn on their citizens, and all that type of stuff, but just saying, regardless of how many do or don't, or follow orders or do or don't, anyway, full out fight. I don't have any statistics or anything like that. This is just my opinions. But if you were having average citizens, which a lot of citizens are prior military, so they do have a lot of training, but they still, I don't believe, are as fit as active military, because when they're out of the military, they have regular jobs like everybody else, and they don't have time to keep that up like being in the military. But anyway, if any military is watching, active or former, definitely appreciate your service and sacrifice. It is not for everybody. Everybody can't fill that role, and thank you for all that you did or are doing now. But just for this hypothetical situation, I would say probably in a fight that you would probably lose 3 to 4 normal citizens versus one military person, because of the advanced training and weapons and all that kind of stuff. Now again, that's just my opinion. And probably against National Guard, I would say you'd probably lose 2 to 3, somewhere along in there. And anyway, I mean, you got to think about the cost. Everybody thinks about these situations and everything, but bullets go both ways. You know, you're probably more likely, you know, to get shot in the first few minutes of battle than, you know, you're not going to be a Rambo like you think. But anyway, like I said, my thoughts are kind of rambling and all that type of stuff, and there's lots of variables to any of these situations, but just think about the cost, you know. Of course, you can't put a price on freedom, and if you had those extreme things that you just have to fight, I mean, it just is what it is. But think about the cost on that, because it you know, the way I look at it is, if you did have to take up arms against, you know, foreign or domestic, I look at it as more of a suicide mission, you know, for the greater good, greater cause, all that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, I don't think that the odds are in your favor. I'm pretty sure that, you know, when you take up and do that, you need to have in your mind that you're probably going to die or either get really, really injured. And I mean, that's just how it is. War is ugly. I've never been to one, but I mean, you can look at history and, you know, all the statistics and everything else, and, you know, realize that. And, you know, if you were to go off like that and get killed, you know, or you go off fighting or whatever, you know, who's going to take care of your family? Because most everybody has, you know, some kind of family, kids and spouse and stuff like that. And, you know, that's in a, you know, lines drawn war type situation. Now, if you were having, you know, raids and stuff like that, if you get raided, you know, for whatever reason, even if you hadn't done anything wrong, they just decide to, you know, make all guns illegal in that type of situation, you know, like the Boogaloo meme started on. But I mean, if they do raid you or whatever, and you're trying to, I mean, not even saying government, or if it's just, you know, the apocalypse, everything collapsed, and you got Roman gangs and stuff like that, and, you know, depending on the technology they have, but you're most likely, it's going to be really late in the morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, when everybody's sleeping and not expecting and everything like that. You know, boom, your door's down, they're on top of you type of thing. And, you know, it's not a good situation for you. You're already behind the ball. You're reacting to, you know, what somebody else has already planned and are ready to do. And most likely it's going to be at least 4 or 5 people, if not more, depending on the size of the group and all that. But you think about it, you have your AR or whatever gun or pistol, anything like that. Just about everything, the best you can have is semi-automatic. Pull one time, you get one bullet, and you only have one round going to one target at a time. And if they come in and it's 5 of them, there's 5 guns pointed at you, 5 different people pulling the trigger, and 5 projectiles coming. It's most likely you're going to get shot, you know. Even if you don't die, you're going to get messed up. But any of those situations that you can think of is a very terrible thing, and I hope we don't have to deal with any of them. But, you know, basically goes to, everybody has all these kits and systems and things, but you kind of get the impression that they don't think they're going to lose. They don't think anything's going to happen to them. They think it's, you know, almost like a movie or a video game. You grab your stuff and go and kill all the bad guys and come home to a, you know, hometown parade type of thing. That is definitely not what would happen, you know. if regardless of any situation like that, it's going to be a lot of life lost and things like that. Just like the first Civil War, it was very, very bloody, and something I hope we don't have again. But even if you're invaded by, a foreign country, and you're defending home, like Red Dawn type of stuff like that, I think that would be a better situation than like a Civil War type of thing. Uh, for one reason is you have home field advantage. I mean, you live here, you grew up here, you know the landscape, and like I live out in the country in the woods and stuff. You know the woods and how to navigate it and what would be good, cover and where the high ground is and all that kind of stuff. Where you know people just come in and invade, they don't know anything about the landscape. So I think you would have better odds in that situation. But still, if you look at it, I mean, look how many people that are really good, professionally trained, and still get killed by somebody with a luck shot. I mean, it only takes one bullet to put you down. Even if you have all the armor, the plate carriers, and things like that, it only covers, your front and back type thing. You still can be shot in the leg and hit a femoral artery and, bleed out and you're done. Or, take one to the head, you're done. It only takes one bullet. And, like I said, if it comes to having to defend, you just have to saddle up and do it. But I think it's a good idea to think about the cost, to start with, which you never completely prepared for that type of thing. But I mean, you have to have your, mentality right, or you'll get overwhelmed very quick. But it was something else I was gonna say, but again, the thought has left me. But anyway, I think it was Nothing Fancy. One of his videos was about the WROL, the Without Rule of Law series. And I think the title of one of his videos that he was talking about is Don't Hasten the Day. And that's very true. Because any of those situations that you imagine are not going to be ideal. It's going to be very tough times, a lot to get adjusted to, and that type of stuff. A lot of it's really heavy stuff to think about. And again, I don't know who all watches these videos, what you believe, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's some of my thoughts on it. And another thing that I think about anyway, I'm sure maybe some other people do, but any of those situations or none of those situations, or anything happens to you, a car wreck or anything like that, where are you going to spend eternity? What happens when you die? Not just your family, financially, or emotionally and all that kind of stuff, but when you die, I don't believe that's it. I believe it's something else. Maybe it's something you need to think about. Maybe it's something you've already thought about. But anyway, I guess that's about enough rambling for this video. And probably about 15 minutes after I end it, I'll think of something else I should have said. But it'll be too late then. Just like with a lot of those situations I was talking about, it's a very in the moment thing, and you're reacting to what's going on, and you can make good decisions or bad decisions, and You know, one bad decision, that could be it. You could be out. I mean, that would kind of suck. You go out 5 minutes into the boogaloo. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. Hopefully some of you enjoyed it. Maybe I made some decent points. I'm not a great philosopher or thinker or any type of thing like that. Just a regular old person. And that'll do it for this one. See ya.